Kate, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you so much, Adam.
Let's get started with the basics. In your words, what exactly is the law of attraction? How does it work? And how can somebody harness it to improve their quality of life today?
So we have the universal energy laws, law of attraction, law of rhythm, law of vibration. So it's just the energy grid, the biofield, quantum field, and we all live in it, we exist in it. And it's just most of us are going through life without doing it intentionally. And so it's really about being more aware of your thoughts, of your emotions, where your point of awareness is, what you're speaking into existence, and all the greatest thinkers, philosophers, and teachers throughout history always talked about this, law of attraction. And so it's what you embody, you're attracting and creating. So Dr. Joe Dispenza always says that your personality attracts your personal reality. And so that's what it is. The inner world is going to create your outer world. And so whatever you're embodying, you just become aware of it, and you just ask yourself, what's my signal, and what am I putting out to the field? What am I radiating, essentially? And then whatever you're embodying, that's what you're attracting more of. So if you're in a state of joy, you attract more joy. If you're focused on hate and resentment and all that, you're going to attract more of that in your life. And so it is for everybody. It's not, I always say it's not a choice. We're in it like it's happening. You don't get to choose whether or not you're doing this. It's just a matter of doing it with more awareness, and it can benefit every single aspect of your life. There's not one area of your life that can improve if you just take responsibility and say, hey, okay, I don't like what's showing up. I need to change my frequency, my vibration.
Okay. So what do you say to somebody who kind of turns off when they hear the word like energy? They're like, oh, okay, just...
Oh, I love those people. I just say, well, name something that's not energy. And then what is it? Because if you get to the center of an atom, it's energy. If you got a cosmos, it's energy. If you put a physical object under a microscope, it's going to be energy. It's in motion. Everything's in a state of vibration. And so I know a lot of people think energy, it's got kind of a weird connotation, and they're intimidated by it, or they don't understand it. But everything's is vibration. Everything is frequency. Everything's energy. And there's nothing to be scared of. It's actually something to be curious about, to be excited about. And it's really empowering when you understand the energetics.
Yeah. Okay. So what can somebody do to apply it to your life in a really positive and meaningful way now?
Yeah. I mean, there's so many books out there. There's obviously the movie The Secret. There's so many resources out there, and it's about just being curious, being in awe, and just accepting this is the natural design, the human experience. This is the energy grid. We're energy beings playing an energy game. Mm-hmm. And when you step back and you stop taking everything so personally, and you're really patient with yourself and really forgiving, it's really easy to beat yourself up, I think, when you start doing this, because you do have to have an awareness. You have to really say, okay, do I like my thoughts? What do they look like? What do they feel like? Do I like my emotions? And it takes a lot of learning. It's a lifestyle, it's a practice, and it takes experimentation. And so I just tell people, be patient and have fun with it. It doesn't have to be so serious.
Sure, that makes sense. So what are some physical techniques that you can use to kind of begin to tap into the energy around you and kind of get a better understanding of the law of attraction?
For me, I teach Qigong, and I found that by adding movement, it really amplifies the experience because you're generating more electromagnetic energy. So when you're doing a moving meditation, and that could be anything, that could be taking a long walk on the beach while you visualize what you want to attract. That could be dancing and just speaking your life out loud into existence. And that's why I always say, make it playful, make it fun. And again, experimenting. Dancing is probably my number one way to attract anything. I get into that high frequency, the energy's off the charts, right? And then I just will say out loud, I'll really claim my story and own my story. And I'm like, this is what it is, as if it's already arrived. It's already here. So I say meditate and movement.
What's an example of you claiming your story? I'd love to hear it.
Like a time that I...
Just right now, what is the story and how are you claiming it?
What's my story right now?
What does it sound like?
Oh, okay. Well, my personal script right now, my personal story is that I'm producing a film right now called Keep It Real. And my story is that this film is going to, or is already impacting millions and millions of people, that it's a game changer. It is the next secret, and that it's going to have this global impact, and humanity is going to finally wake up and realize we're all superhumans, we're all powerful, and we're limitless beings. So we might as well explore it more and just own our power.
Okay, so I noted something very interesting there, and you swapped it from future tense to present tense. Why did you do that?
I caught myself. I know, because that's the whole idea, is that we're not saying a story that hasn't happened yet, because that creates the separation. Like Dr. Joe always talks about, it's about owning it here in the now and just saying, this is my story as if it's already happened. The brain doesn't know the difference between real and imagined. So you get into that state of it's already happened. You match that vibration of it. So for me, even though the film hasn't been released, it's already helped millions and millions of people. It's already made that impact. I can feel the energy, because now I'm creating that bigger charge in the field, increased magnetism.
Great. Okay, that makes sense. Thanks for sharing that. It's an important point.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
So let's explore an ideal day for somebody who's starting at 0 and wants to begin to bring in positive habits to tap into the law of attraction in a positive way, not in a negative way. Because as you said in the rapid fire, it's a pendulum that can go in either direction, and it never doesn't exist. Mm-hmm. It's just either working for you or against you.
Right. So there's a lot of mental reprogramming that happens with law of attraction. So I always say, start with your affirmation, start with your storytelling. And in the morning before you start your day, write your script for the day and talk about, today's going to be an amazing day. I'm going to be so magnetic. Everything's going to show up with ease, with grace. You just start changing the story. Yeah. And repetition is the number one way to reprogram ourselves. So really get comfortable and excited about your story, about the affirmations, and just keep repeating it again and again. And your brain at first is going to go, yeah, okay, nice. Yeah, right. Sure. Everything's going to be easy breezy today. Yeah, right. And you'll start to have those stories, and you just have to override the old programming, the old narrative, and upgrade your beliefs, upgrade your story, and have fun with it in the morning. I would say add some movement, do a little meditation, visualize the best case scenario, and just rewire your mind, rewire your energy, and everything has to show up differently just by universal energy laws. Okay, so how do you rewire your energy outside of the morning, affirmations? Oh, I think meditation really is probably the best way. That's why I love the Qigong, the moving meditation, because once you start activating, you're hitting, you're knocking, you're shaking. It's all for peak performance. You're hitting all those natural energy points in the body, getting really centered, really grounded, and then you're just going into your day with this alertness, this aliveness. Mm-hmm. And once you're in that charge, you're going to see everything throughout your day show up differently, and just more magnetic. Yeah, great. And you mentioned affirmations before. So what's an example of a good, affirmation versus a potentially poor affirmation? Because I think we're affirming words in our mind every single day, whether it be positive or negative. So let's go through some examples. Yes. So how many people in the morning will say, oh, I'm going to get stuck in traffic. Oh, I have to deal with my boss. This is going to be such a hard day. And they're already creating the story. They're already creating this really weak charge in the field, versus the person who's like, today's going to be amazing. Everything's going to flow today. Like I'm creating the most magical day. I'm going to come home by the end of this day with a big smile on my face. See how it's such a different charge. Same person, they have a choice. We always have a choice in any given moment of what our story is. Is it empowering or disempowering? Is it magnetic, or is it going to really create a lot of resistance? And that's where the choice comes in. What do you say to those people that have a really shit day after trying to be really positive and affirming and everything's just knocking them to their ground? Like, what do you do? Yeah, life's going to happen. And sometimes those things that show up that seem bad or out of alignment or the opposite of what we had set intentions on, a lot of times that's just a redirection. I say failure is not a problem unless you think it is. It's always our perception. So if you just kind of go with the flow, that's what the whole point of Qigong is, right? You find the flow state, you work with flow. And when you're there, when you're in that place, then it's not the bad day. It's not something going wrong. It's just, okay, I need to redirect. And a lot of times, we've had it happen a million times, right? Where, we get delayed in traffic, but it actually serves us. Or it's like, oh, this perfect timing. There's always a divine timing. There's always a higher intelligent plan in place. And so that's where the faith and the trust and the patience has to come in. It's kind of scary though sometimes. Yeah. Oh, absolutely. 100%. Oh, absolutely. And it's not that this is always easy. It's not like, oh, I said my story and life is just perfect now. No, you're going to have the bumps. You're going to have the challenges. That's part of the human experience. But if you interpret it as this is an opportunity to evolve, to grow, to expand, then it's not a problem. It's just, okay, no, this is showing up. All right, bring it down, baby. It's our attitude, it's our perception. Everything is. Yeah. So you mentioned movement is a key component, and you mentioned Qigong as your way to do it. What are some other examples of some positive
forms of movement that people can do if they're not, they don't understand what Qigong is, or they're not potentially interested in it?
Mm-hmm, yeah. I mean, the thing is, we all do moving meditations, whether we're aware of that or not. Whenever we're watching TV and we just kind of get it, in that zone, or we do the autopilot drive, or those long walks on the beach where you're not thinking, it's just slowed brain waves. You're relaxing your body and you're just kind of in that flow state. So we're all doing it, just doing it more intentionally. And so people, when they go dancing all night and you just feel this charge, this energy, that's a beautiful example. Or for other people, martial arts. I love martial arts. So I love boxing. Been getting into nunchucks, bow staff, and ice skating while doing nunchucks. It doesn't matter what the movement is. I always say have fun. Whatever makes you feel that aliveness you felt when you were a kid, when that playfulness, that fun state, just get there. Like, have fun, don't overthink it, and just move your body. You can do anything, even just stretching. And a lot of people just like to be at home stretching. Great, that's movement. Just move your body.
Yeah, cool. You mentioned there's been a lot of examples of great thinkers and people of impact in the world who've spoken about the law of attraction. Are there any that come to your mind, in the forefront of your mind, that you'd like to give as an example?
Let's see. I mean, well, Nikola Tesla obviously talked about the secret to the universe, to think of everything in terms of energy, frequency, vibration. Yeah. Think of that's the secret to the universe. So if we just start there, we go, okay, well, everything is energy, frequency, and vibration. Then we start to navigate life very differently. And I would say life becomes way more interesting, right? Obviously Einstein's into energies and all this stuff. It's like anything with power of the mind and movement and just being connected to nature. That's really the essence of all of this, right? It's just coming into alignment and getting back to our rhythm. And you see this in our society. So many of us are out of harmony, out of rhythm with nature. So we got to come back. We got to find that flow state and, and stop going so fast. The slowing down is actually what allows us to speed up, so find that alignment.
What would you say to somebody who is living in a city like New York and they don't have the means to get into physical nature? What are some good habits and thought processes around creating a space of, maybe nature or peace within their life?
Well, that's the beauty of meditation and breath work. You can find that peace, you can find that flow state by going inward. So yes, of course, nature is always the best. As we all know, we feel better after a day on the beach or playing in the park or whatever it is. So if you're in your place here in New York City and you're in your apartment, I would say just close your eyes, focus on your breath, just like we did earlier. Just focus on the breath, get really centered, get into your heart space, and you can just close your eyes. And again, the brain doesn't know the difference between real and imagine. So imagine that beach scene, put on some nice music. Maybe it is nature sounds, something peaceful. Maybe it's binaural beats, but something that allows you to just feel relaxed, to slow down, to get calm, to get grounded, and then just focus on your breath, add some movement if that feels right. Just find there's so many resources on YouTube. I'm like, just find your own style. It's not the same for everybody. It's not one size fits all. That's the beauty of healing.
Yeah, it takes some time for sure.
Yeah.
For sure. You mentioned that negative states are also a component of, the law of attraction as well. So meditation's a good tool to catch yourself when you're in those negative states quicker than maybe you otherwise would have without that meditation. And then what are some other ways other than, potentially movement and dance and stuff to break yourself out of those negative states when you're in them?
See, do the things that light you up, whatever that is. Maybe it's cooking. Maybe it's going out to a nice restaurant. Maybe it's calling up a friend and laughing, watching a comedy. I mean, there's so many ways to shift our energetic state. Even just putting on some nice, beautiful music and closing your eyes. You don't have to be doing it so much. A lot of people, I think, put in too much effort on a lot of these things. Sometimes less is more. It could just go for a walk, and that could help you to reset your energy. And again, it's always our story. So change the story and go to a state of gratitude. Gratitude is the golden elixir for everything, for health, for manifesting, for just living a happy, fulfilled life is gratitude.
What about gratitude is important here?
Well, for one, it gets us into our heart center. And we know that through science is that the heart creates a field of magnetism. So it allows you to be more magnetic. It's a vibration, right? It's the frequency of gratitude. And it allows you to just remember what's important, to be really present, really mindful. And whatever you focus on, you attract more of. So gratitude creates a bigger charge in the field. So if you're grateful for that which you already have, then you're just going to attract more and more abundance.
So what's an example of, incorporating gratitude into your day?
Well, as far as
just some tools and techniques.
Some tools. So like for example, if I'm having a day where I'm kind of off, you know, or my energy feels off and I'm stuck in my stories and I'm like, oh, I'm kind of in that place we all go to, right? The monkey mind. And I'll stop myself and go, whoa, stop. What are you grateful for in this exact moment? And then and just simple things, the things that we all have that we take for granted. I'm like, well, I have my legs, I can walk. I'm grateful for my hands. I'm grateful for this moment. I'm grateful for what's up ahead, my family, my friends. And you just start rattling it off. And next thing you know, it dissolves the challenges. It dissolves your problems and you get out of that state. And so once you shift the energy, you shift what's showing up. So I would say, I won't let myself get stuck in those states very long. I used to, but I don't anymore. It's like, no. What are you grateful for? Come on. What's your gratitude story, girl? Come on, get that story. You know, change the story. You change everything around it.
So you mentioned just before that you have changed your habits in the way that you view negative states and you use gratitude to do that. How did you get to the point where you were able to go, you know what, no longer am I going to sit in this space, and what's the story around that?
I would say Qigong's probably the greatest teacher I've had for all of that, because it really teaches you to not judge. It's not right or wrong. It's not bad or good. It's just, okay, here it is. You become the observer. So in our society, we're really big on judging everything, right? We have a reaction for everything. We walk down the street. How many people are just judging everybody, right? This person's this person's that, total strangers. And that's a really disempowered place to be. So with the Qigong practice, it really taught me to just observe it, to witness, and to do it in a way that's not emotionally charged. So I've become very good at just going, okay, this is showing up. Okay, there's that. And not making it such a big deal. I think we really dramatize everything. And it's really tragic because it takes a huge toll on our energy and our health.
Yeah, I agree. I'm a huge fan of gratitude journaling. I'm in and out of the habit for a number of years and use the gratitude journal, the 5-minute journal. It's my favorite one. It's really nice.
Mm-hmm. Oh, it's powerful.
Yeah, it's really, really powerful.
Yeah.
So you've spoken about incorporating ancient wisdom into day-to-day life and the modern world. What would you say to people who think that it's outdated or irrelevant?
I love when people are kind of skeptical about it, because those are my favorite people to like blow their minds, where I'm like, wait, hold up. Let's give this a shot. I mean, when we talk about ancient wisdom, I know it can seem like, oh yeah, that wouldn't work for me, or, oh, that's not relevant. It's not practical, or whatever. People have all these beliefs about everything, right? But really, when you get to the foundation of these ancient practices, they're all the same. It's about being connected to nature. It's about focusing on your breath. It's about really being powerful. I always say we're all superhumans by design. It's just that we forgot. We got really disconnected from our natural innate abilities and powers. And so if you have a closed mind to it, well, then that's a choice, right? You're saying, oh, I'm not powerful. You're shutting it down. But the reality is, that's why I love the Qigong and I love breathwork and things like this, these different modalities, because it reminds you. It's like you wake up. It's like flipping a light switch on. You're like, whoa, I've never felt this before. None of us were taught this. So it seems really out there. It seems woo-woo. It seems intimidating. I get that. And I used to be one of those people, right? From New York. We weren't going around doing our Qigong practice.
Actually, I lived in Chinatown for 2 months, and they are.
I'm from upstate.
They're in the park, and they are doing Qigong. And they've got these cute little bows. It's a whole thing. It's a little Chinese man goes there every morning. Totally. So you're just not in the right circles.
It took me moving out to California, where I was like, wait, why is everybody using this word energy and this and the Reiki and all that stuff? And it took me a long time to open my mind. And really, when you dive into these ancient practices, it's very innate, it's very natural, and there's a resonance. I always say, listen to your body. Your body's going to tell you. Like in the earliest forms of healing are dance, singing, sound. I mean, come on, it's like, this isn't that hard to wrap our heads around. It's like, what is it? Movement, activating chi, your life force. You know, it's not that hard.
Yeah. I read somewhere that when people get into a group, and they're told to increase the energy on like different levels. The highest peak level is like hands in the air, jumping and dancing, because it's like, as humans, it's the point where we like, if we've got the most amount of built up energy, we release it through dance and like collectively like involving, movement and dance. So it makes sense.
Right. And actually that's something I always say in my classes. I always say, think about your dreams, your desires, whatever it is you want to attract, get into the vibration of it already being here and into that celebratory state. So once you're in that state of celebration, by universal laws, things have to show up that give you a reason to celebrate. So just stay right there. I'm like, just stay happy. Like happiness is a choice, right? And celebration feels good. So what would you do if you were celebrating your most wildest dreams coming true? Once you're there, now you've created this massive charge in the field. Now you're in your state of receiving and being open to infinite possibilities, right?
Yeah.
Celebrate the infinite.
Yeah, definitely. So let's talk about rewiring your subconscious. Do the body-based approaches like Qigong shift the ingrained beliefs faster than just words alone, or what's a more impactful tool? And then what's the best way to incorporate the two?
Yeah, so the best way to reprogram the subconscious is to slow the body, slow the brain waves. That's why I do find Qigong to be the ultimate for that. So I've got certified in neurolinguistic programming. I've always been about the mindset. But when I found the energy practices and I found the Qigong, I was like, ooh, it's the two together. It's the mindset and energy mastery. It's that. And that's the fastest way that I've found. You've got to drop into that theta state. So just get yourself really comfortable, really relaxed. I always encourage people to listen to sound healing. So the binaural beats. Maybe it's right
5
before.
to 7 hertz.
Yes, exactly. Find certain frequencies, whatever resonates. It's infinite. It's free on YouTube. I always tell people YouTube is like our greatest healer, and most people, it's amazing. There's so many resources, but most people don't know to go and explore that. So get into bed right before you go to sleep. Put on a 10-minute guided meditation or a 10-minute binaural beats or a certain hertz, and then get yourself into that state and just visualize what you want to attract. Do some reprogramming if things surface, right? Triggers, trauma, all that stuff that surfaces, the old stories, and then just reprogram and just be gentle with yourself. It all takes time. It takes patience, and have some fun with it and go, ooh, yeah, when I listen to this, I find that I feel really empowered. I feel really aligned with my dreams. Just explore.
Yeah. So this all kind of ties into your physical energy state. So what is somebody looking for when they're trying to feel or understand their physical energy state if they have had no experience in kind of the energetic body?
And we all understand the physical body, right? The biomechanics. But when you get to the bioenergetics, I know it can sound a little out there because we can't see it. But the truth of the matter is that we've all experienced it. Everyone's had the experience where all of a sudden somebody pops in their mind and they get a sense of somebody, and then that person calls them, right? Our bodies pick up on something. We pick up, okay, I'm sensing them. It's a sensing, a feeling. Same thing happens when somebody walks in the room and there's just something about that person. We just feel charged when they walked in. Or they walk in and we go, ooh, they've got a dark cloud over their head and their energy repels us. So it's just about listening, because the body is intelligent. The body is going to communicate. So a big part of understanding energy is to listen to the body, right? Because there's the physical body and then the energy body. And we've all felt it when, you rub your hands together and you feel a little heat, a little magnetism. You start exploring it. I always say it's one thing to talk about it. It's another thing when you physically explore your energy, you actually feel. That's why the Qigong's important, because then you're like, whoa, what is this? Well, I'm supercharged. What is this energy in my hands? You start to form your own Qi ball. You're like, oh shit. You're throwing Qi balls down the street, You're like, it's just, you have to get curious and have fun, and you've just got to feel it and sense it for yourself. But we do all understand energy. It's just, I don't think we had a language for it. And that's what's the beauty of what's happening right now, is that now we're all going, oh yeah, this makes sense. Like, of course we can feel each other's energetic fields. It's scientifically measurable. It's science. It's innate. It's natural. And we've all done it. It's just owning it. Like, it's time to own it.
I mean, we did know about it for a very long time. I think we're just relearning it again.
Yeah, exactly.
It's been known for thousands of years, but we just kind of were like, nah.
Yeah, right. Like, no, we don't want to be powerful and magnetic. We don't want to be superhumans. Like, we're going to play small. I think we got comfortable with this new narrative and playing really small and being disconnected from each other, disconnected from ourselves, from nature, from our true essence, our true power. So now we're remembering and we're reconnecting. And I'm like, can we just speed this up a little bit? Let's have some fun with this. Let's go.
What do you think caused us to lose our connection with this?
Well, there's a lot of answers to that one. We could say in a general sense, a lot of misprogramming, a lot of people in power that have always tried to disconnect us from our powers. It's happened all throughout history. I mean, all throughout history, it's, books being burned, or people being killed for having this knowledge, this wisdom. People, people trying to discredit it. People say, how many times is the even spirituality and that have just been like demonized? It's like, well, wait a minute, hold up. Like nature in and of itself is spiritual. Like we all have spirits. We're spiritual beings. So why do we have all these weird negative connotations? It's just the narrative, those in power always wanting to keep us disconnected from our power, but also each other, because as long as we're in conflict, we're easy to control. And I think we're at a time where we don't want to be controlled anymore. We don't want the illusions and the disconnection. We're ready to plug back in and remember who we are.
Just quickly though, I love doing this podcast. If it's positively impacted you in some way and you would like to support us, please subscribe. By subscribing, it allows us to build a much bigger base of listeners, which results in better guests, better production, and a better show overall. Alternatively, please take a look at the affiliate links of the products that I use and love in the comments below and consider purchasing using those links. They'll give you a discount and they'll also provide the podcast a small kickback. These are two very easy ways for you to support us as we continue to grow the podcast that we absolutely love doing. Thank you for your support. And now back to the episode. Yeah, that makes sense. So I want to switch gears a little bit and go back to The Secret specifically. So for those who don't know, what is the premise of The Secret? What's kind of the core foundational pillars of the whole idea?
Yeah. So The Secret was a lot of experts, authors, quantum physicists, just people who had mastered quantum physics. Essentially, they had mastered these universal energy laws, and it's a great way to open up to this. It's an older film, almost 20 years now, I think. Wow. And but it's a great way to kind of open that door. Like Jack Canfield from The Secret is in there. It kind of busts you open. It was such a massive, massive film at the time. And it's like, once you open the door, then you're like, all right, well now I'll read this book and now I'll check this out. And it gets you started on your path. I think it's really great to start somewhere and to start somewhere that's worked for a lot of people. Like The Secret woke most people. That's actually what got me into all of this was The Secret. Everyone's like, you've got to watch this. You got to watch this. I was like, oh, okay. And I did. And then I was like, okay, there's something to this. There's truth to this. It's a resonance. You can feel it in your body. And it just kind of gets you started on your path. So
what does it say?
Law of attraction, but essentially what we talked about earlier, that, they always say like attracts like, but essentially that what you embody, what you're internalizing, that's what you're attracting. And so it's just becoming more aware. And I think there are some things that I wish I could add to The Secret. That's why I'm making the film I am now, to add in things that I think are very relevant, important, kind of the next level of this. It's the exploration of the human experience and the human potential and power of the mind and just the energetics. The law of attraction is a universal, immutable energy law. And so it's like, it's a great opening, but like I said, it just busts you open and then you're like, okay, now I'm curious.
So what do you want to add?
There's a lot of things. One thing that for sure I feel like was missing from a lot of those amazing teachers, not just in The Secret, but just in lots of industries, is adding movement to it. Because a lot of people, will be like, okay, I was thinking about it, and it didn't show up. It's like, well, when you have the movement, you create a bigger charge. You speed up that process. You're activating more electromagnetic energy. So movement's a huge part. I don't recall there being a mention about meditation. Maybe I'm wrong. I haven't seen The Secret in a while. But adding the meditation, getting really centered, getting into flow state, being in nature when you're visualizing, when you're really speaking your life into existence, writing it down, scripting it. I think that's a very important part of it as well. Really getting into the character, really like embodying that patience. Patience is something I don't think was mentioned either. And just, having fun with it. I think a lot of times this stuff is taken very seriously and it's very, very cognitive, and that's all great, but really, isn't it supposed to be fun and playful and lighthearted? Isn't it supposed to be something we really enjoy doing? Creation, right? We're here as creators. We're all co-creators. So we might as well create in a way that it's exciting. It's really relevant and playful.
Yeah. Okay. I have known about the law of attraction for a while. I've not watched The Secret, but a lot of this has a component of, if I say it, it's going to happen. But I feel like there's a second part to it. What are your thoughts around, the law of attraction being the first stage and then say the law of action being the second stage?
Yeah, I mean, they all work together. It's not so much like this stage and this stage. You know, there's law of vibration, law of rhythm, law of perpetual transmutation of energy. It's that what
are all those things? I don't know.
Yeah, so it's just that everything that we're creating internally, this energetic charge, based off of our thoughts, our beliefs, what's in our subconscious, our actions, our point of awareness, whatever we're emotionalizing, all of that is creating a charge in the field. It's creating waves, and so it's really about kind of owning what waves you're creating and generating. So it's all working simultaneously. So if my vibration is high, then I'm going to attract things with more ease, right? If I'm not taking action, how am I going to receive the things that are trying to show up with law of attraction? So you're always taking action. You know, a lot of people, that's another thing. I think a lot of people with law of attraction will think about it and they'll be like, I just kept saying I'm driving my sports car and it didn't show up in the driveway. Well, okay, how much action did you take there? So it's about listening to your body, listening to your instincts, and taking actionable steps. Like, did you start going to car shows and networking with people who own the cars? Did you start working at a car shop? Was there any effort to make it happen? And there is some effort involved in this. It's not just sit around in your chair and be lazy. You know, I know everybody wants things the instant gratification way, but there's a process to this. So it's like, instead you could get your frequency in alignment. And most people will think it up here, but then they have a subconscious belief or a conscious belief that either they're not worthy or, yeah, you're right, this is going to show up. You know, we get those, again, back to the stories, we get the stories. So it's about being more aware and going, are my emotions aligned with this? Are my thoughts aligned? Where's my frequency? What waves am I creating? And once you get yourself into that sweet spot, like how many people, when they want that sports car, are actually jumping up and down, celebrating and screaming that they got the car of their dreams? Probably not many, right?
Yeah.
So they're not actually in that vibrational alignment. So got to own it. There's a responsibility with law of attraction. And most people don't talk about that.
You got to still put some work in.
Yeah, you got to do some effort, right?
Yeah. I just came back from Date with Destiny, Tony Robbins' event. Mm-hmm. And it's very reminiscent of a lot of the stuff he does. It's like, you know, get into a state through movement, you know, say what you're going to be in present tense. I'm doing this. And it's like very like, yeah, we're fucking, yeah.
Let's do this.
And then it just creates this energetic state inside of you that makes you want to just like push forward. I want to jump into therapy and journaling and those components to shifting your energetic state. What are your thoughts around all that versus, say, you know, Qigong or the law of attraction work that we've spoken about previously?
So therapy obviously can be very beneficial. A lot of people have great results with that. But I do always say to people, if you're in therapy, are you finding that you're talking about again and again and again something that that really hurts you? And if so, how does that make you feel? Is it raising your vibration? Do you actually feel like you're having a release? Or does it feel like you're kind of stuck, kind of in that holding place? And I see that a lot with people who are like, oh, I've been going to therapy for years. And I'm like, well, have you done any trauma release? Actual like in-person techniques where you're removing the energy from your system or you're actually letting it out? And if they haven't, I tend to recommend that they do, because breath work, I mean, that's probably one of the number one ways to release trauma. One breath work session can release a lifetime of trauma, and you don't even realize how much the body stores and how much that trauma gets trapped in our system. And it's all just energy, frequency, vibration. And so when you start to do that, you start to expel those energies, and then you feel so much better, so much lighter. And obviously the Qigong is amazing for trauma release as well. Meditation. I mean, there's so many things out there that you can do. Tapping, you know, EFT. It's like, there's just so many things you can do. But I always say experiment, explore it, and just keep noticing how your energy is shifting. Because if your energy is not shifting, you're not actually moving on. You're really in that stuck space. And I used to be there with past things that went wrong, trauma, pain, suffering. I'd get really stuck there. And then it wasn't until I found these modalities that I was like, oh my gosh, what was I doing? I didn't have to be stuck there. Like, it's time to move on. Let it go, move on, and giving ourselves permission to move on. We get really stuck in our past.
Yeah, and the stories you tell about what they mean.
Right, those mind movies. Yeah, we play the same mind movies again and again. We re-traumatize ourselves all the time.
Oh God.
Yeah,
I think there's something in just like stopping thinking about things.
Yeah.
Like I used to be one to ruminate and re-ruminate and think about it over and over again as though, and then I'd need to have specific therapeutical outcomes to stop them from being a problem. And it didn't really work. And then one day, I think I was doing a podcast with somebody And they just said something along the lines of, yeah, so I just like stopped thinking about it. That's an option? I'm like, no, that's not me. So yeah, he's just like, yeah, I just don't, like something comes into my mind like that. I just go, nah, and just don't think about it. So I started doing it and I just started like things that would annoy me and trigger me. Like, yeah, sure. There's like a part of me that would, be pushing it away, but it's not so much pushing it away. It's just kind of being like, oh yeah, I've acknowledged this sucked, but I don't need to think about this anymore. Yeah. Like I'm just going to think about something else. It's okay. And without running away from everything, like I'm still not running away from everything, but it's been nice because it just, by not thinking about it, it's like you don't keep pulling the Band-Aid off.
Right.
And your body just slowly heals. And then when it needs to come up, it comes up, and sometimes it comes up in appropriate settings and you can actually work through it.
Yeah,
as
absolutely.
opposed to rethinking it and ingraining those scars into that same spot, into your psyche.
Right, absolutely. And a big part of that too is forgiveness, right? The power of forgiveness. And for how many of us, and I used to do it too, just couldn't forgive. We couldn't let things go. And when you forgive, it's not that you're condoning people's behaviors or you're doing it for them, you're doing it for yourself.
Yeah.
Once you forgive, you shift the energy and it's kind of like, why am I going to get stuck in this? If we could just accept that, yes, things are going to go wrong. We're going to get hurt. Life's going to happen. Life can be very bumpy and painful, right? It's just part of the game, right? There's light force, but there's dark force here too, It's like, it's nature. And so we just go, okay, what if it's always changing our perception. Like, what if we were to reframe the story, kind of shift that mind movie that we're holding on to and go, what if it's not that you need to hate your ex-boyfriend who hurt you, and instead go, thank gosh, they messed up so badly because then I got to release them, move on, and now look where I'm at. It's like, if anything, you send them love and forgiveness and you just go, thanks for showing me who you are. Thanks for showing up like that because now I'm free from you. Like, peace, see ya. And you just change your perception. You can be the victim in it or you can be empowered with your own new story. Yeah,
definitely. So look, I'd like to switch gears a little bit and kind of talk about your world and some of your thoughts. So what's the biggest thing over the last 2 years you've changed your mind on?
I used to get really stuck in how things should be. So, I always followed the path that humanity laid out, right? It was like, get your degrees and do this and da-da-da. And so I was always on that path. And I think where I really had a pivotal moment where I accepted and realized like, whoa, I can create anything I want. And it was kind of this like stop doing what everyone wants you to do. Stop living the life that humanity laid out for you. It's not a very empowering path, right? It's just kind of like, it's almost like a checklist, like do this. And so I took a step back and I was like, no, I want to do outside of the box. I want to live it in a wild, free way. It's like that Einstein quote where he said, the woman who follows the crowd will usually go no further than the crowd. And the woman who walks alone will find herself in places most people never have been. And I took that path. I was like, I want to know. And so I just said to the universe, I said, show me what this really is. I want to know what this really, truly is. So that was my big shift in life where I kind of went the opposite of the crowd.
And what did you find?
That's by the time where I really got into the universal laws and the infinite. And I think Joe Dispenza talks about this a lot, being really comfortable with the unknown. I was always such a planner. It was that checklist, right? It has to be this. Everything's linear and get all your stuff, right? Like get those A's and da-da-da. And it was like, I was so unsatisfied. I was so unhappy. And when I made the shift and I was like, no, I'm going to be okay with the unknown. I don't need to plan it. I don't need to know what the next step is. And that trust and that faith kept building and building and building. And then I realized, well, we're all superhumans. We're all capable of infinite possibilities, infinite potential. And if we just are open and we just keep trusting and, just again, living life unapologetically and wild and free, I really believe that that's where a lot of our happiness and freedom resides.
Okay. If you could only recommend one book for somebody to read over and over again for the rest of their life, what would it be?
I know I mentioned it earlier, but I'm going to go back to Think and Grow Rich. And a lot of people that do read it again and again. And they do recommend that you keep doing that.
I haven't read it since I was 18. I'm 33 this year. I'm actually got to read it again.
Yeah, I'm actually due for a reread myself for sure. It's been a while, but it just reminds you of what is possible and it reminds you of how powerful we are.
It's pretty much the secret.
Yeah,
really.
It is.
Yeah.
It really, really is.
The OG secret.
Exactly. It really is. Yeah. It's all in the same world there. And there are so many books out there and, I always just say whatever inspires you the most, read that again and again and again. Just keep doing it. Yeah.
Yeah. I was a big reader of like as much as I could, like wide. And I was starting to see a lot of patterns. So I'm going back to, all right, it's time to reread some of the really like seminal texts in my life that have kind of etched into my brain, because I think there's more to those ones than just to constantly read a bunch of mid books that, might not really give you much more insight or are repackaging other old ideas. You may as well go back to the core that actually has made the difference. If you could know the absolute truth to one question, what would it be?
I guess it would probably have to be something about the human potential. Like, what are we actually capable of? Like our most, I don't know, let me rewind that. It would be the original blueprint of humanity. Like what are we capable of truly? Like, I know there are chi masters, energy masters who can light things on fire with their chi, or people who can read out of their third eye. I mean, our superpowers, like what are our actual superpowers by design that we forgot about and we're not even remotely exploring or hardly exploring? Like, what's that? Like, were humans actually designed to fly? It's possible. Like, what are we capable of? I want to know those secrets, and that's what I'm on a mission to figure out.
So run me through the first movie that you made.
Yeah, a Superhuman Experience. And so that was filmed by the director of The Secret, and he partnered up with someone who had trained under Master Mantak Chia, and they had been on a quest since he was
reading his book right now.
Really?
Yeah,
I am.
Yeah.
Okay, nice. That's awesome. He's
so
great.
funny.
Yeah, he's so funny. So he had sent this boy as a teenager to go and find the top energy masters on the planet, people with supernatural abilities. And so this guy, David Verdesi, had been his life quest to go find those people. And so he partnered up with the director of The Secret. They spent years going around the world. So it's, the King of Bali, it's top martial artists, it's all these different people, but they all have superhuman powers. And so we just dove in, and then there's a lot of expert interviews in there, like Deepak Chopra and Wim Hof, and just a bunch of awesome people. And it's really about exploring the human potential, but it's showcasing basically the Olympians of Qi, the Olympians of energy, mindset mastery.
Yeah. So what are the core components that they all have?
I love that question, because that's what, as we were editing, we were like, wait, they're all saying the same thing, just kind of differently, but it always came back to the most basic, simple things like imagination, to get back into that childlike state of awe and wonder. And I was like, that's it. Kind of rewind, kind of unravel everything that we've layered up on all these, all the programming, right? All the stories that we've built up. And you go back to just being curious, being in the moment, being present, using power visualization, like those martial artists who can shove someone across the room without touching them, or things like that, or, whatever it may be. They're visualizing through the field. They're working with the quantum field, the biofield. And so they're using their imagination, they're using energy projection. And it's always about belief. It's whatever you believe is possible. And for how many people right now probably watching this are like, okay, that's not possible. Well, that's their belief. And as long as you're thinking that's not possible, then okay, then it's not. But for those like me who believe anything is possible, I see miracles, magic, crazy stuff all the time, every day. And the more you believe, the more it shows up.
What's a recent example of that?
Of what's possible?
Some like crazy thing you've experienced.
Let's see here. Well, a lot of what I teach Jedi mindset stuff, and I teach people how to project energy. And so when you believe that you can project energy and you believe you can work with this grid of intelligence, you're able to send intentional waves through the field, and you're able to influence other people's energies. You're able to, like I can send enough energy where people are like, okay, I can feel you. Like, you're literally touching me, or you just bear hugged me. Like, I can feel you. We can project energy through the field. So, I'll be going into a meditation, or it doesn't even have to be meditation at this point, but I can just direct energy on someone, and almost instantly they'll get back to me and be like, what are you doing to me right now? What is happening? Like, I can feel you. I'm supercharged, like they just receive it. And so the more you do it, the more you experiment with it and have fun with it, the more you realize how we all get to influence each other. And it can go even next level, where you're able to reach people in their dreams. That's a fun one that I do. I'll have fun. Like, my friends, my sister will be like, let's meet in our dreams. And so we're meeting up in these other realms, other states of consciousness, and you're able to interact. And it's wild what we're capable of.
So you mentioned that they're the people who are like, I guess we'll say chi masters. They're somewhat childlike in the way they approach life. So how do you balance being childlike but also elite?
What's the last part?
Childlike but also elite.
Oh, so the childlike part, it's not, being immature or anything like that. It's being
playful.
That childlike state, like as kids, if you think about it, kids, we're always in the moment, right? We're supercharged with life force.
Curious.
We're super curious.
Playful.
And we're observing everything. And so like Bruce Lee always talked about, empty the mind and be like water. So you come back to that flow state, you're very water-like and you're just observing it all. So I could look around this room and judge things, right? I could be like, oh, we need some new flowers. And like I could come up with all these stories in my head, but then I'm thinking up here. And instead you just observe it and you're like, oh, look at the beautiful colors. And you're just taking it all in, right? And so you get into that very childlike, peaceful state. You're curious about everything. Your senses are heightened. It's just like this alertness, this aliveness. And if you look at kids, I mean, we watch them and we're like, oh, how do they have so much energy? It's because they're connected to nature. They're connected to the grid. They're connected to earth, to the earth force. And so if we can just get back to that and get out of the stories, it's really about unraveling all of the programming. And that's what they always say with enlightenment, right? A lot of people think that's just, oh, you're just happy and everything's blissful and amazing. But it's really a lot of work. It's a process. It's a stripping away of what you believe to be true. It's an unraveling process, right? And so that's what this really is about. I think that's what a lot of these masters understand, is that you unravel all of the stuff that's out of alignment with the core truth, your true essence, and you come back to that essence.
Okay. Yeah. It seems very esoteric for someone listening. So if you were to start from the beginning and teach me how to use my energetic field, how would you do it? Like what, right now?
Right now? And you,
yes.
Let's go.
Let's do
okay,
it.
well, next thing you know, we're doing a whole Qigong routine. So
we can do that.
I mean, to get you to actually feel it, I'd probably do some simple activations with your hands, but I know you have your computer in your lap, so I don't you want to do it? Okay, so you want to just do it just to feel it? Okay, so if you're brand new to this, I do this with kids. I'm like, okay, this one's called starting the fire. And we've all done this when we're cold, right? First thing we do naturally and innately is we rub our hands together, right? So when we do this, we're working with the same energy points that you'd see with acupuncture, acupressure, right? And you're activating that Lao Gong point in the center of the palm where we all send energy. So you start to activate these points, start to feel some heat. You're generating heat. That's what this is all about. And then now you're going to press the palms like this. You're going to ignite the fire. So just hitting natural energy points, just kind of fun too, right? You get out of your thinking mind. Now you're starting to think about something outside of those monkey mind thoughts that we have, right? You start to feel your senses. You start to heighten a little bit. So then this one's fun. Now you just brush your fingernails together. Lots of energy points in the ends of the fingers here. So you do some simple activations. And in a second, you're going to feel how powerful. You're going to feel your activated electromagnetic energy. You're going to feel that charge. And then you just tap your fingertips. Probably already starting to feel something a little bit here. And then now without touching, go really slowly. Start to just sense and feel the energy between your hands. Do you feel kind of that tingling, that buzzing? And then now kind of spiral that around. So go really slowly. Qigong is the art of effortless power. So it's very gentle, soft. It's a slowing down. It's a heightened awareness. And you just kind of get curious. Now pulse it again. And then I would have you take a deep breath in. So you're going to breathe in. You're going to float your hands out. And then on that slow exhale, you just go like this. Float your hands back. And then now pulse it and see if it's amplified. Yeah. Yeah, right? And so we'll do that again. So we're going to charge it out just a little bit more. So simple, right? So you're going to take a deep breath in, match the breath to the movement. So big inhale, float your hands out. Really relaxing the hands. The idea is not to think. Slow exhale out of the mouth. Just release and let go. Float your hands back. And now pulse it. See if it's amplifying. That's your activated electromagnetic energy. So simple, right? That's your life force.
What do I do with this now?
Isn't that wild? And what do you say? What do you want to do? You're like, I don't want to drop it. I don't want to drop my sheet.
Where do I put it?
Where do I put this sheet? Well, this is where we start to become our own healers. We can send it on the lungs. We could send it to our chest if you want to do that. You could place both hands on your heart if you want to supercharge your heart. You can do it. You can hold and contain it if you want to work more with driving energy to your brain. If you want to relax all the muscles in your face, you can use it to anywhere. If your knee hurts, you can activate energy and then hold it on your knee. And then you align your brain waves and you instruct that area to clear, release, and let go. And this practice teaches you that we're all the healers. We're all by design healers. And we're all powerful. And it's really just reclaiming and owning your power and just going, okay, I'm curious about this. Like it's cool, right? It's like, whoa, what's that?
Yeah. So for anyone listening, it definitely I felt a pressure pushing my hands out that definitely increased every time I did the breathing thing. So there you go.
There you go. It's magnetism. Yeah, it's one thing, like I said, it's one thing to talk about it. It's another thing when you actually feel it in your hands and then you're like, whoa, what's that? It can actually feel it. It can sense it.
Just thinking of like become like Dragon Ball Z.
Yeah, right. But where do you think all these games and movies and everything comes from?
Yeah.
It's from real stuff, right?
Yeah.
Like we generate chi, life force. And when you crank up that energy and you start to work with it more and more, it amplifies. So like you get to a point where you can just generate that energy anytime, almost effortlessly. Yes, and you're literally like a video game, walking down the street and you're just
for you, one for you.
Oh, big chi ball coming in. Like my family will make jokes. I'm like, I get like the bow and arrow out and I'm sending like these crazy things. It's whatever, because again, it's imagination. It's whatever you imagine, because it's the imagination that actually guides the chi, the life force, and that's the building blocks of creation. So just working with electromagnetic energy in a way that's playful and fun, that's it. It's again going back to that childlike state of awe and wonder, curiosity, playfulness. So simple.
There you go. So wrapping up, what's one key lesson you'd like for everyone to take away from this conversation?
Key lesson?
Yeah.
I would say be so curious about your potential and explore it in a way where you're not putting pressure on yourself and you're not trying to figure it all out. You're just like, I'm curious. What does a sound bath feel like? Give it a shot. What does this feel like? And find your own rhythm, find your own path with healing, because it's different for everyone. Like I said, you know, we're all different. We're all unique. I always say we're each a unique expression of source energy. So we're all going to need different forms of healing. Not everything's going to work for everybody. So open your mind, open your heart, and just dive in and grab a friend and make it a thing. I was like, can we just, like get away from always trying to like be stimulated and partying and social and everything, and go, why not just grab my girlfriends and we'll go to a sound bath tonight? Like shake it up a little bit, make healing cool, sexy, fun. Because it really is, when you dive in, it takes everything to a whole new level. You become more sensual, you become more alive, more activated.
Yeah, great.
Yeah.
And is there anything you're excited about at the moment that you want to let the listeners in on?
Well, for sure, my film, Keep It Real. Definitely that's my baby. I really, truly believe that's going to help millions and millions of people. I've got amazing experts in there. It's a fun way of teaching this. I'm really trying to restyle ancient wisdom in these practices and make it so that everybody gets it, just like we just did. Kids get that in a second, if anything, probably faster than adults.
Yeah, definitely.
Kids are like, yeah, like, here we go. I'm like, oh, okay, easy guys.
Be careful.
Yeah, exactly. So if we just open our minds and our hearts, I really believe that we can create a whole new generation. We can create a whole new reality here and do something we've never done in the history of humanity and really manifest peace. I really believe it's possible.
So tell me about this movie.
Yeah, so interviewed a lot of amazing experts. It's really a spin-off of the last film I mentioned. So
what are some examples of the people you've interviewed?
Yes, we have Jack Canfield and Marie Diamond from The Secret. We have Dr. Bruce Lipton. He's good friends with Dr. Joe. They're just awesome people. I love these people. We've got Wim Hof, the Iceman. He's in there. Dr. Javon James from the show The Wire. Obviously, Brooke Burke's a huge part of it, from Dancing with the Stars. There's so many people. But I tried to really restyle it, make it a little bit more dynamic and fun. So Thomas Canestraro, actor and two-time champion boxer's in there. There's a Sports Illustrated model. I gave it a little flair, because that's obviously my style, if you notice. But it's definitely my style. So I made it a little more bold and edgy. And then all throughout it, it's not just experts speaking. There's a weaving story of my own personal journey, where I start out just kind of grassroots movement up in Santa Cruz area. And I'm like, we got to create peace. And if I just start here, it's going to lead somewhere. And sure enough, it does. And I won't give away too many details on it, but it's more interactive. It's just high energy. And you can't watch this film and not feel supercharged with hope. There's just no way. It's not possible. Like, I've watched the film hundreds of times, and every single time my energy shifts, and it's jam-packed with solutions. I'm still learning from it. I'm in awe of how this all came to be, and it's all channeled. It just
become
way bigger
a vessel
than me.
of whatever this is.
It's something. It's a ride, right? And it's its own energetic charge, and it's all heart. It's just such a passion project, and I'm in love with this project.
And when is it coming out?
Well, it was supposed to be released in March. We had our final day of filming. That's supposed to happen in Malibu, but then the fires happened, so I'm on a little bit of a delay with that. It's for sure going to be this year, and then it's going to be a docuseries. The next one will be called Keep It Lit, and we're just going to keep it rolling. And I'm just going to show humanity step by step how we can navigate out of these times, and we can consciously, as a collective, as one giant team here, we can create something we've never done before.
Great.
Yeah.
And where can people find you if they're interested?
So my website is DreamBold Network, BOLD, and on there I have everything, whether it's my graphic art, there's some Qigong videos if you want to get started on that. I have an online subscription, Mindset and Energy Mastery. There's all kinds of fun stuff on there, but anything creative, anything that's about human potential, that's where I put it.
Great. And my last question for you is, what is the meaning of life?
We ended on a bang. Okay. Oh my gosh. Oh, the meaning of life. Well, I certainly will never claim to know the meaning of life. That's way bigger than me. But I will say,
yes, you might figure it out.
Oh, maybe one day. I certainly don't have it all figured out. But I will say that at least from my perception, I've learned to think of life as the school of life, that we're all here to evolve our energy, our essence, to have hard learned lessons, to become resilient, to strengthen our skills, to just to explore and experiment, and that there's no right or wrong way of doing it. It's your choice, right? And I really just believe that if we open our hearts and we open our minds and we just think of it all as energy, and it's all connected, this grid of energy, and we have fun with the process and we trust it, that it shows up very differently. And I think we're really here to just explore the human potential, and I think we're supposed to be really fun. I don't think it's supposed to be what our narrative claims it's supposed to be. I think there's just something else going on here. And I just think the meaning of life is really whatever you want it to be. You're creating your own game. Just you are the director of your movie, so own your movie.
Great.
Yeah.
Great. Awesome. Thank you, Kate. Appreciate
pleasure.
your time.
Yeah.
Appreciate your energy. And if anyone listening has enjoyed the episode and want to support, please go to YouTube, search That One Time with Adam Metwally, click subscribe, like the video, and leave us a comment. Till next time.
Till next time.
Cool.